Hey everyone, it's Zach here, and I decided it's pretty late, but I decided I'll go live because I tend to have better results with explaining things when it's live. Anyways, so tonight I just posted the first kayak series, the kayak fishing series, Budget Kayak, Part 1. Budget Kayak Fishing, I should say. So I took it out today, went to a lake area. Well, it's like a half hour away, but had no luck. Ended up kind of raining on me, so if I don't catch any fish, I don't post a video. That's kind of my rule. I don't want to bore you guys with, getting all the way out there, but yeah. What's going on, Jerry? Anyways, so the plan is I was out here actually, I don't have my notebook out here anymore because I went inside, but I'm going to be building a rack for this car because unlike more modern vehicles, see how they have this nice little spot here where the door frame kind of goes in? Well, this car does not have that. It's just the rubber gasket. So a lot of these temporary roof racks you can put on here. My problem is if I have my glass up and I go to close it, my glass is going to nail that metal piece. And this rubber piece really doesn't want to come off unless you guys know better. But so my plan though is to get some 1-inch square tubing, and I'm going to build, it's a 2.5 by 2.5 foot rack. So it'll sit roughly from here all the way back to about here. And it's going to have a little plate on the bottom, come up 3 inches. I only need about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rise, but I want to come up enough. So it'll be up about 3 inches, it'll go across, and then across again. It'll have about 2 inches of overhang on the 4 posts, and it's just going to be kind of a square design, and then it'll mount right to the roof. I'm going to drill holes right through, and when I drop the liner, I'll put a plate on the inside as well to keep her sturdy because I don't want the hardware ripping out. But that's the goal because I don't like having the straps like way in the front, and I didn't feel confident in the little like washer holder thing that I made. So I want it to be a secure mount, and I don't want straps everywhere. I just want it to be straps on the roof rack, and that is it. So I don't know if this car has any cross beams, like supports in it. A lot of the time they'll have like a spine, a few of them for support. I don't know because, it has a liner in there, so I can't see. We'll find out, obviously, but that's the goal. And this is a mint car, like, other than the dent on the one side, like, it's a cute car, but I have to remind myself this is just a $500 car. I like to keep things very stock and, I don't know, just keep them normal, but I've been trying not to be like that so much. Of course, Sam's car does have the rails, so on the SUV here, we could do that. You can get the roof racks, but I can show you guys. This is kind of exciting. We did this today. Has the baby seat in it. So it's one of those nice click connect ones. So you don't have to like fiddle with it every time. There's just a lever on the front. There's just a lever in here, right there, that big red one, and you just pull that and the whole thing unlocks. And then when you're ready, you just put it back in there. So we got that, and then we got a second base. We got the car seat and the bases from Sam's parents. And the second base, wow, come on back, there it is. The second base, I was unsure if it had the ability to be in like, but it totally does. So it can be mounted in there because this, a lot of times they have like hooks in there, little metal hooks that you can stick in there, and Although I haven't looked, I'm pretty sure this car doesn't have that. Just because 2003 is when they had to be a standard. So, yeah, I should be able to put the seat then, wow, focus, on the opposite side. Or at least the base. So that in like the very rare occasion where we can't take her car, I still have the ability for this thing. So that's why I want to put a rack on there even more. Because I'm hoping that once that truck sells, I don't actually have to get another vehicle. I can just drive this thing until the end of time. And then we'll put a hitch on her car for the rare occasion or whatever. But we may or may not get another vehicle. Time will tell. We did get our new dresser and it's not broken, so this one's for sale. Put it up on Marketplace. I was able to sell my goose blind today. Guy came, I had it for $200. We agreed on 175, and then he only had 20s, 2 5s, and a couple 1s. So we settled on 172, which is fine. I just wanted it out of the garage, and I'll just put that money towards some sort of a payment or something. I've been trying to get a hold of my dad for the welder here to try to set up a time where I can drop it off or he can swing by and pick it up. But I haven't heard from him in like 2 or 3 weeks, so I don't know what I should do. I don't know if he actually wanted it or not, because he said he did, but then I didn't hear anything, so now I'm trying to get a hold of him again to make sure, because otherwise I'll put it back up for sale and sell it, make a couple $100 on that. Also, those are kind of the 2 bigger items that I want to sell. I really need to get this out of there. I put it up yesterday and no one's really bid on it yet, which is surprising because if you wanted to put it in like a corner, you wouldn't ever see that mark. And then this was the worst part of it here. But then this other corner just has this little like dent in it. So, I don't know. It's a over $400 dresser thing, and you know it's kind of nice. It has like the anti-slamming stuff. But I put up for $150. Maybe someone wants it for $100, and we can settle. But nobody wants it yet. What else? Yeah, and that rack I plan on building, I'm going to build out a square 1x1 tubing. Probably not maybe as thick as this. This end is obviously cobbled, but you can see. So I'm going to weld little caps on it so it doesn't whistle. But it'll sit kind of right here, up about that high. And then I'll get some pool noodles or pipe insulation from Menards Works too, and throw that on there. But I'll paint it like black. You know, I'll paint it a nice color. And I really think I might put a little light bar in the front. But it'll come with time. But just something a little better than what I got going on. Because, I mean, it did kind of dent the roof. Not that I care, but it would be better. I care more about like how the strap placement is because I wasn't too happy. But so far, I tried to pop out this dent. And I got it to pop out a little bit. And the reason I did that was the tire was rubbing on the inner fender here. And it still has a lot of play in it, but I think it's better now. Because it was pushing it in, which was pushing that out. So I got that kind of pulled back out. And then... whoa. And then I put my power inverter in here. Because... it only has this one little cigarette outlet, which it did come with a cigarette lighter. But I put that in there that way as I'm driving. It only is on when I'm driving, and I'd like to actually wire it in to the battery. But yeah, I put that in there that way I can have 2 outlets, 2 USBs, which is really nice. Oh, and I changed the battery. Oh, and I got one little light bulb for here because the marker light was out. And then it needed a new battery because the old one, chilling back there, if you look at the top of it, You can see how gross and corroded it is. And whoa, zoom back out now. There we go. And the problem I was kind of having with this car was I had a weird hesitation, like stutter thing in like second gear on acceleration. So kind of like went through it and I checked all my injectors. I checked the ohms and they were all reading properly. So I kind of narrowed it down to 3 different things. One was when I got the car, the blower motor wasn't working, so I had to jiggle around the connection point under the passenger footwell. There is where the blower motor is. So I thought maybe the blower motor is pulling so much power, because I noticed that it really did pull a lot of power if the heat or the AC is on. And being that it's both, the only thing that runs consistently between the two is the blower motor. So I thought, okay, maybe that was it. And then my second guess was that the fuel pump is going out, or that the strainers, which are kind of like little filters in there, that those are going bad. So that was my second thing, which is actually a pretty easy fix because it's under the back seat. All you gotta do is pop it up and you're good to go. And then with my buddies, I was kind of explaining it, had them drive it. And then we were like, well, what year is that battery? Because we were looking at it, and that battery is from 2013. So my truck battery from 2013 died this spring. And then I know this car died in my mom's garage because I bought her a battery tender for it because it was dead in the springtime. So that battery probably is dead. I should actually put the charger on it and then take the charger off and measure the resting voltage of it, because that would be a dead giveaway. But so far this thing seems to run a lot nicer, and I'm hoping that that's the only issue. But it definitely needed a battery anyways, because I doubt that battery would have lasted through the winter, being that it was 13. It was 6 going on 7 years old, which is a pretty long time for any battery, and the corrosion around the terminals kind of is a giveaway. So I just went and got a Walmart Max Start battery. I was trying to get them, I can't remember whether they're Super Starts or whatever they are. There's like a plus one, and I was trying to get that one, but they didn't have it in stock, so I just grabbed whatever one I could and threw it in here. But it's running really, really good. I'm pretty happy with this car. I think what I'm going to try to do tonight is throw the base in the back of it just to see what it is. But I like this car. It has 2 little bucket seats, and it's, for what it is, it's zippy, and it gets me to work and back. I mean, I drove all last week. I'm at 197 miles, and I'm reading, it's the left gauge there, if it'll focus. So you can see there I'm reading just under half a tank of fuel. Now the first half on this thing is like the most, but it's about 6 gallons. So I don't know what that math is. I can't actually do that quickly, but it gets really good gas mileage. And like today when I took the boat out, I'm like, screw it, I'm going to take the truck because I need to drive that thing every few days, or start it, make sure things stay working. And so I took the truck out, and I had just under a quarter tank of gas in the truck. So I put $22 in. I was going for 20, but I missed. And I hopped in it, and it was just over a half a tank. So it put in about a quarter tank of fuel. And I was like, geez, that's a full tank of fuel on this car. What's going on, Kirk? It's a full tank of fuel on this car for that thing. And I'll drive, conservatively, I can drive 2 weeks on that. And I tried driving this thing like an old grandpa, and it did get good gas mileage, but I can't, I'm not going to say I drive it erratically, but it shifts a lot easier for me if I'm in that 3 to maybe 5,000 RPM, depending on the gear. Like first gear, you have to kind of rev it up high, but then to keep up with traffic. But I tried, 2,000 RPMs. It's just not a way to drive in a manual. At least this one. Because this car is zippy, but it's gutless on the low end. All of its power is high end. Hey Ted, how's it going? So I love this car. I guess I can't start it up because I haven't really showed you guys it running for a while. I don't even know if I've ever showed you guys the exhaust or if I told you about it. I put a Cherry Bomb exhaust on this thing. I think I might have showed you. But it's tucked up underneath there. I want to get a little drop down tip for it. But I put it on there because it was so quiet. And I'm used to like dirt bikes and four-wheelers. And my old F-150 was a manual also, and that thing was straight pipe. So I like to hear it. It's not overly loud, but I gotta say, I think it sounds pretty good for what it is. So. It has to idle down here, but it's not overly loud, but it actually sounds louder in the cab than anything, which is good because that was the purpose. There it idles down. But yeah, the motor's a little noisy on startup, but once it runs for a little bit, it's totally fine. So it still might be working out some of that bad fuel. I think I've only had 3 tanks of fuel in this thing. Oh, but yeah, well, sounds good, I think. Yeah, what are we at? Woo! Just under that half a tank. So yeah. Oh, you're gonna beep at me like that. So that's what it sounds like. Pretty decent, I'd say. Someone wrote in. Kirk says, Zach, you should talk to Melissa and your dad about hunting the swamp at the farmhouse. I bet there's a lot of wood ducks there. Probably. Hopefully I came back. That'd be kind of cool. Although I don't think they want to do much hunting on that land. I know that they don't want to do any deer hunting, and so duck hunting's kind of a tradition thing. So I don't know if it would happen there or not. I haven't heard from my dad in probably 2 or 3 weeks now. Haven't really got a hold of him much, so hopefully he's doing good. I tried texting him tonight, but he didn't respond. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. I'm trying to sell the truck, have that posted, and want to build a rack for this thing. It's funny because I joined a kayak. I joined a kayak mod page just to get some ideas for this thing. What do people do, and everything like that. Well, this thing's having a hard time focusing tonight. Well, everybody is upgrading or modding, if you will, to a trailer. Like, oh yeah, I'm working on modding a trailer for it because they build like 4-place holders on the rack, like a rack thing, and I thought that was funny because I have a trailer and I've been thinking of selling that 4x8 trailer and getting one of those Harbor Freight 40 by 48 inch ones because I can still throw a deer on there. It would overhang, but I could still probably get a deer on there if I made it right. And I can bring my sticks to the dump. But it takes up less than 4 square feet, which is, probably a third of what the trailer I have now takes up. And then on top of it, I get tires anywhere. If I have a flat tire, I can go to like Menards and get a 4x5.5 or whatever the bolt pattern is. They're everywhere. Which I can't do with that current trailer. And then if I wanted to, I could put sides on it and then tow a kayak or whatever. But I've seen so many things on different kayaking pages the last couple of weeks or whatever since I started adding them. And some people, they got the trolling motor and they got the big fish finder, the Humminbird fish finder, and just so many different little modifications that they do. I'm trying to keep it relatively simple by not putting on. I I did the trolling motor on the canoe, and it was okay, but I thought it kind of lost its purpose when I did that, because I started to get upset that I was hitting all these weeds with the trolling motor, and then I'd have to till it up and then till it back down and bring a battery, and it took me so much time to set it up, and the batteries are really heavy. If you ask me, I have a battery box for it, but still, it was some back-breaking work having to tote all that gear, and I thought, what's a lot lighter? It's just a paddle and some patience. I did buy a kayak paddle, but I was going to look up that too, because the same thing happened the last time I had a kayak. When I go for my paddle and then I flip to the other side, and all the water, they put the little rubber... Where did I put my paddles? Where are they hiding? I just gotta find them here so I can show you guys. So I put here it is. So the kayak paddle comes with the rubber donut thing right there. And I believe that's to keep the water from coming back, but it keeps dripping all over me. And that's a pretty long paddle. I think it's 88 inches, which, like, when we're at Cabela's, this is a Walmart one, but when we were at Cabela's, that was like that 80 or 88, it was a longer size than some of them. So I was going to look up if people modify them or put bigger rubber pieces on the sides or what they do, because it just drips all over me. And I thought maybe it's the fact that it's the high sides that is causing it. I don't know. So I have to try to do more research on that just to find out what's going on with it. But yeah, because I noticed when I was using the canoe paddle, it was one on the left, one on the right, and so on. It was just one and one all the time. So the kayak paddle is definitely the way to go. I just have to figure out how to not have it drip all over me, because after about 45 minutes of paddling, my shoes were soaked, my legs were soaked. It started raining, but then the wind picked up, and I'm like, I'm getting cold. And then my mind switched to the whole reason I got this was early spring, late fall fishing. And I thought, well, that would be no good if I was out there in 40-degree weather or whatever, and I'm freezing cold and covered in water. So whether that's a normal thing or not, and I have to make maybe a little bit of a dry cockpit thing, I don't know. I have to figure out what's going on. But another thing that got me too was where I went, there was 2 DNR officers, DNR kids, the ones that check your boat. And obviously I got there, this thing was clean. And then when I was leaving, like I said, I was going through duckweed, I was going through a bunch of junk. You can still see it in here. I have yet to wash this thing out, but look at this big old chunk right here. Oh, like disgusting, right? All up in there. I tipped it up, it all kind of fell in the bottom, but it was all in there. And the guy comes over and he's like, "What lake are you going to next?" I'm like, "Well, I think I'm going to go try this lake." And then he said, "Oh, okay, well, I'm not worried about it. Have a good day." And I thought, this thing is covered in algae and weeds and mud and all this stuff. And they had the trailer and the thing where you just pull up to it and you wash off your boat. So I don't know why. There's 2 of them there, so you'd think at least one of them would have been like, "No, we should probably wash that thing," but meh. Ryan said, if the baby comes before duck hunting, you going to be duck hunting? Probably not. In fact, I'm not going to even make set in stone plans right now for deer hunting, because I want to make sure that Sam is very comfortable being alone, because I certainly wouldn't want to be in her position, if you will. Like, let's say she was going to go, switch shoes, and if I wasn't really comfortable, would I want to be home alone per se? Granted, I think she might be staying with her parents if I do go hunting. But regardless, being that the baby's due date is on the 24th, I'm for sure not going to go duck hunting. Whether the baby comes early or late, I will not be going duck hunting. It's just not on the table this year. And that's totally fine. I guess I shouldn't say I'm not going, but I'm definitely not going all the way up there because that's like 4 or 5 hours away. And that's just too far, too soon. Maybe I'll wake up early on a Saturday and try to hit a local spot, which there isn't that many local spots around here, but maybe I can find somewhere. That's something that is possible. But deer hunting, let's see, September, October, November, that is also in the air because, once again, I just want to make sure that everything's comfortable and good. And you just never know what situations might arise, right? So we'll see. Hopefully, but my feelings aren't going to get hurt if I don't go. And I love hunting. It's a great hobby. But I also, made the conscious decision that I want to start a family. So, you have to pick which one you're going to value more. And obviously, family I would value that way more because, I might be here for this year or an occasional year because whatever. I mean, if she's born on the 23rd and that is always going to be a weekend, yeah, I want to be here for her first birthday and I want to be here for all those special moments. So, duck hunting, I can go a different weekend. It's not a big deal. So, William Jensen said, I'm happy for you guys. My girlfriend recently thought she was pregnant. False alarm. I'm ready to be a father. Make sure to give me some tips. Well, you guys might have watched the video, but I want to do I'm thinking a separate channel all about, okay, I think we're back. Hopefully we're back. I want to do a separate channel with Sam as the star, and it's going to be all about the process of her staying at home. Maybe like she had I had a whole bunch of ideas too, but like her ideas were she wants to make homemade baby food. She wants, we have the whole process of it's a big life change, right? She's not going to work anymore. Maybe what she does to keep herself busy, what her daily routine is, all of these things, because I think that'd be a hit because I think a lot of, what we've looked up is a lot of videos on how this would work. And it's, everybody's situation is different. And it's important to not falsify, I guess, your situation because then people don't understand it or can't relate to it. So I think we want to do a separate whole entire channel on kind of a family channel. And like today, Sam was teaching me how to wrap up a baby in a swaddler. And she was explaining it to me. I'm like, okay. And I put it in my own terms of like, okay, you got to fold it like a football, like a paper football. And then you put it then you put the baby on, you put it under the one baby's arm, and then you wrap the baby up like a burrito. Like, that's the kind of stuff where, as a guy, I had no idea. I've never wrapped a baby in a swaddler. I put clothes on a baby, but I've never wrapped in a swaddler, and it's the easiest thing ever. But putting it into like layman's terms is cool too. So I want to get that perspective on that channel also of like, hey, this is how it made sense in my mind because that's, everyone's mind works a little differently. Look at the state of my garage. This is how my mind is. Disorganized, right? But to me, everything has found its spot. And I've said it before, but the way I organize my tools, if you will, is the first place I think of it is where I'm going to put it. So if I say, oh my gosh, I need my vice grips, and for whatever reason, I walk to that shelf, guess where that vice grip lives? Right there, because that was my first thought, and forever will be the connection that my brain has made. So that's why everything is the way it is. Looks very disorganized, but the way my brain thinks about it, it's very organized. So yeah, but yeah, William, that's kind of the right. William was the one, I believe. Yeah. So that's kind of my thought process. Is I really want Sam to be the star of the channel because she's so good at explaining things, and she is so good at like understanding things, or teaching me things. So I would really like to make that channel and have it all about what she does. Maybe she could vlog a day a week and then show like, hey, life has changed in little ways. Like I used to be able to make stroganoff homemade, but now I find that I don't really have the time for that. So now we eat this type of meal instead, and perhaps what's going on, William Nelson, and perhaps then it can be like a, cook this meal on the weekend in your free time, and then you can heat it up during the week or whatever is convenient. Because she watches crazy videos about like a mom that makes her child lunch every day for school and what she eats, and it's a super popular channel, and then to me I wouldn't watch that, but to her she loves it. So everybody has a different thing, and I think Sam could really be good at it. What do you think of your little weights? Kirk, what little weights? I'm unsure of what that is. So, yeah, before winter comes, I have to hang up these bikes. I have to get rid of her bike. Good morning, Mark. I have to get rid of Sam's old bike because I'm going to hang our new bikes right here. And then I think over there possibly, or even right here, I got to put a little pulley system in where I can, it doesn't even have to be a pulley system. I have to put a piece of rope up there and an eyelet so that I can do exactly that. I'll tip it up, I'll click a carabiner on that side, and then I'll use my ladder and I'll walk it up on this side, and I'll hang that kayak up all winter long. So that way I don't want that sitting out. My other canoe sits out, and it's fine, but I think that a plastic canoe kayak thing would get brittle and sun faded, and I spent a decent chunk of change on it. But I do think that the YouTube series I just started, I do think that is a very relatable series, because a lot of people, whether they're young, first car, 16, they want to get out fishing, but they work part-time and so they got days off or whatever. I want to show how easy it is, buy a kayak, throw it on something and make it work. They got a beater car, or perhaps, there's a 65-year-old person and they are recently retired and they're looking for a way to pass some time during the week because they don't have much going on. But, they're on a retirement income, right? They're on a fixed income. So what can they do? Well, they can go out, they can spend money on something like this, nice and stable, has a nice comfy chair. I forgot to show you guys this, but on each side, underneath, if I can flip it out, it's kind of stuck in there. Oh, I was going the wrong way. So on each side, I got the seat all the way back, but there's cup holders on each side. How cool is that? But for an older individual that might have hip problems or back problems or whatever, they have a nice comfy seat. They got 2 rod holders, and they got the foot pegs, if you will, and it's 56 pounds. So they can throw it in maybe they have a truck, maybe they have a whatever. A lot of people want to go fishing and they fish from the banks because they don't want to go through the trouble. I would love to have a boat, but what I don't want is I don't want to have to store a boat. I don't want to have to maintain another trailer. I don't want to have to mix the gas. And let's be honest, it seems like every time a person goes out on a boat, it dies for some crazy reason. I mean, there's been many times where I've been stranded on a lake because the boat's not working. So that's what I'm trying to showcase with this series is, hey, if you're a kid in a part-time job, save up. You know, you probably have a fishing rod if you want to go fishing, I'm sure. Or you could ask for one, and I'm sure someone will give you a handy down one or whatever. Same with these kayaks. You can find them on Marketplace for $150. And you could, if you did it really cheap, you could be out fishing for probably $200. Or if you want to spend a little more, you can get yourself, you know, something a little stable. Maybe you're not comfortable in a real tippy kayak, so get something like this where it's really stable and you're comfortable in it. You can sit in it all day. I think they advertise these as you can stand in them, but I bet I could stand in this, but I don't think I'd fish from it standing. But you can stand in it enough to stretch your back out. And you're not going to get across the lake real quick, but I find something relaxing about not doing that. I mean, even today, I was watching these people drive by in these boats. And we're talking, boats are expensive. You're talking nice boats, so $20,000, maybe $50,000. And even on the kayak page, the fishing pages I follow, they had all these tournament guys out there. And I commented and I said, you know, that's really cool, but the last thing I would want is a $100,000 boat and truck setup. That sounds like a lot, you know, a lot of stuff you got to keep up on. You put a scratch in your $100,000 boat or your $20,000 boat, you're pissed. But, you know, you put a scratch in this thing, oh well. You know, go get some fiberglass or a repair kit and a plastic repair kit and you're fine. So that's what I'm trying to get at, is you don't have to be a millionaire to go out there and get big fish or go out there and have a fun time, spend half a day. You just have to find the right deal. And that's kind of what I'm going for in this series. I mean, this is how simple I have it. I have that boat, your little one weight. I got an 18-foot John boat for free. I don't know what little one weight you're talking about. Yeah, so I got the boat, and this is my whole setup. I got my net. This is a piece of phone cord with a tie on one end and a piece of string on the other. I think it's a 15-foot phone cord. This is my tether for my paddle. I got my little net here, my life jacket, which is a movable one, so it doesn't have the big shoulder straps, so you can actually wear it and paddle. My hat, my waterproof container with whistle, which I try to always wear that whistle around my neck or have it close to me while I'm out there. And then my one, I think this is a 3-pound weight, or sorry, my 3-pound anchor that I bought from Walmart, which folds up real nice. And like, even today, there's probably wind gusts of 20 miles an hour, and this thing was holding on really good. I didn't move at all. So other than that, I have my paddle, which you guys seen. I got a kayak paddle, and I brought my other paddle. And then I have my 2 main rods and 1 extra. So I have more than these, but these are my 3 main ones. I have a nice rod I got from Sam, but I think it's a 10-foot pole, and I think it's a musky pole, so I have to get a different pole for it. It's a pretty big rod though. And then yeah, this is my fishing setup, right? So this is a Pinnacle brand, which is like a $20 Walmart one on an ugly stick. I think this is a heavy ugly stick, 5'6". Maybe it's a medium. Yep, medium, 5'6". So this setup is maybe $30. I got this as a gift, so I have no idea. But Bass Pro Shop, another bait caster, and then my open face. And this was like a Walmart $20 for the whole thing. It's a Firebird. And I've had this one for probably 5 years. This one I've had for probably 10 years. And this one I've probably had for like 8 years. So I rock it, you know. I don't... Everyone's, you know, oh, be careful, you don't want to lose your rod. Well, yeah, one of them was a gift, but I got a lot of life out of them. And I'm not afraid if I break a tip off any of those or anything. Whatever, go to Walmart and buy a new one. So, oh, how's your little one? Oh, I get it. Okay, I get what you're saying, Kirk. I don't know. I think probably right now the baby's probably 5 or 6 pounds. we have an appointment tomorrow, and I believe they're going to take an ultrasound to make sure that the baby's facing the right way. So they'll probably give us a wait tomorrow. William says, all I use is Ugly Sticks. Can't beat what you get for the money. A lot of people get, what are they, LaCroix rods or very expensive handmade ones, and it's like, man, you're one broken eyelet from having a bad day. Like, I can't remember how many rods I had where I broke off the last 2 inches, so I just snapped off to the next eyelet and rocked that forever. I mean, it don't matter. And these Ugly Sticks are good value. How much does your baby weigh right now? I have no idea. I think it'd probably be about 5 pounds, possibly 6 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. Because for the last bit, they're like a pound a week. So she should be getting pretty big, but we'll find out more tomorrow. Anyways, I think my phone's going to die here, so I just want to touch base with you guys and let you know I'm going to be building a rack because I cannot find one. They have a suction cup one, which I'm not going to trust. And then they have some other goofy one that's like $400. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spend $30 on steel, and I'm just going to build this thing myself. And I'm going to show how to do it so that anybody that has a $500 beater car that just doesn't care, we're going to mount a rack to it, and we're going to rock it because, yeah. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you sticking with it and watching me blabber on. But thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys another day.